So generally, I've been doing this for a while now, and it's always tricky because doing this thing where I'm the visible face of TFT, there are a lot of people that have been in a position that I'm in that it gets to their head. They start taking credit for everything that their team does. And I've never wanted to be that kind of developer. I want to be the human shield for the team, because making games is a team effort. It always is. I do my part. I do what I can to help the team, but it's still a team effort, right? You can't do it without the team. And that's always been important. And God, I'm already starting. Fuck off. And I've been doing it for a long time. And I thought 4 years of doing this would have earned a lot of trust. But the Draven stuff yesterday, or 2 days ago, I'm losing track of time, it really took a lot out of me at first. Because after 4 years, like, we fixed it in a day, and that's not a new thing. That's not abnormal. Like, we've been doing this a lot now. We're fast. When something's broke, we fix it. Sometimes you can't see the limitations. For example, the locket thing, right? Like, the locket thing, you didn't see that we had already touched the Bastion file in the micro patch, so we couldn't adjust Bastion more with something like their armor and MR duration, so we had to do something, and the locket was like the best option out of bad options, other than leave locket Bastion being the dominant strat for a week. And that's, even when I try to communicate that sometimes isn't always clear, but we do the best we can to fix the game as quickly as we can. But the amount of memeing and destruction on the Draven thing was really rough. For example, I saw a lot of people memeing my third tweet that said, "Don't expect a B patch." All that tweet said was, "Don't expect it." It didn't say it wasn't happening. It just said, "Hey, don't get your hopes up for a B patch." And so seeing that become a chat copy pasta, again, after 4 years of the team building up this rep, really kind of stung a bit. There were definitely some tweets. Hilariously enough, they were tweets from people like you wouldn't expect, like people I thought were more pillars of the community. I'm gonna call him out, but I actually like this person, so don't take it out on this person. But like Gooba, I saw Gooba shit talking the Draven patch pretty hard, and I was like, really, dude? That one kind of hurt, And it's like Lobby 2 was doing its thing, but I did what I could, and the other thing too is I'm human. I've got my emotions, my temper, and so what I had to do to try to stabilize was I left everything. I left Lobby 2, the TFT Discord, the competitive Discord. I couldn't read it anymore. It was just too much, and I was gonna say something I regretted, which I've done in the past before. It was just a lot, and so I did what I always do, which for any of you introverts, I think you know how this is. When things suck, you close off, you wall off, and you just focus on what you can do. So I bottled up the emotions, and I went into work, and we fixed it. Like, that's what I focused on. I focused on working with Phil and working with Tim and working with the QA team and just getting the patch out and focusing on and fixing it. Which was interesting because since I had kind of closed myself off from social media, I didn't see a lot of what was going on after around 10 on Wednesday, 10 a.m. But up until that point, it was brutal. Obviously, there were some really big ones out there as well. Setsuko's tweet and clip definitely raised some eyebrows. Shout outs to my comms team, because I definitely had a really adverse reaction to Setsuko's thing, but usually when that happens, I message my comm guys. I'm like, hey, here's this thing, and they talk me down off a ledge, which is really nice, because that's something else I think a lot of people don't see, is that while I'm often the face of TFT, a lot of the times if I'm saying something spicy or I'm about to do something weird, I double check with my comms team just to any red flags here? Should I not be saying this? Generally, I'm pretty good about it, so there's not major corrections or anything, but it's still nice to have that safety net. Anyway, TLDR, like I said, a lot of stuff. And, you know, one of the other things, and I've told you this before, and I don't know if anyone believes me, but I read everything. I read Reddit. I read my DMs that people send me, my Discord DMs. I read it all. I can't respond to it all because I have no time. But I do read everything. And, like, for example, I've got a few impassioned players who will, like, tell me about their every bad beat and their every game in their DM and tell me, like, oh, this was frustrating. And, like, 2 of those were like, hey, glad there's no accountability in game development. You'd be fired for this patch. And it's like, bro, come on. You know, only 2 death threats, admittedly, but still a lot of, you know, he should be fired, whatever. And again, like, that's all under the assumption that the Draven thing was my fault, which again, as the shield, it is my fault. I let the Draven thing through, so I take accountability. But it was a lot. It was a lot. And with how much trust I had thought I'd earned, because trust is important, and then to see that reaction was definitely the first time in a long time where I'm just like, is this worth it? Is this worth it? I haven't played many video games. I don't have weekends. I could just take those back. Riot's happy with me. Oh, that's another crazy thing. The other thing is, again, because when I start reading these negative comments, I go down the rabbit hole of reading even more negativity, and I make the mistake of looking at Reddit, which is just the worst. And you read takes like, this one will always stick out to me because they were like, I guess Riot will just be happy because they have lots of players now and the game isn't good. And it's like, you realize we have lots of players because the game is good. Like, do you not see what you're saying here? You're like, make the game just for me, but I guess they're happy because they're breaking records with their player. Like, ah! And I'm just like, I'm losing my mind. Like, because again, I want everyone to understand that we're coming from a good place and that we're doing the right thing. But there are some people just so out of touch. There's that famous quote where it's like, don't argue with idiots because they'll bring you down to their level and then they'll win. And it was a lot of that too. It was just like, you know, everything at Riot right now is like, holy crap, set 9 is a success. Everything's great. You know, team's doing good. And then you've got these like salty people that are like, Legends were a failure. And it blows my mind. And so, like I said, it was the first time where I was like, I was ready to... Ready, the first time in a long time I've been like, I should just not do this. I should be a normal human being. But, after we got the B patch out, I was like, okay, time to go read and see what's going on. And that is when... I can do this. 1 second. Okay. That is when I saw the positivity. A lot of positivity. More than I deserve. Bryce's thread, Zoju, Froden, bunch of people, very kind. It was a lot. It was a lot. But it was what I needed. My Twitter DMs were full, just full of positive notes. I can't even 100 plus. And it was very kind. And it, like I said, it was what I needed because it reminded me not to drown in the negativity. You know, the game is doing better than it's done in a long ass time. People are enjoying the game. I got a lot of really touching stories about how Legends were allowing people to enjoy the game that hadn't in a long time. I got a lot of stories about You know, how it's just been so much fun to play with their friends. Even from people who are like, hey, I don't personally like Legends, but my younger sibling who's special needs really likes how they can do it. Just so many positive things. And it was great. And it definitely told me, you know, keep going, keep doing the thing. So I just have to remind myself that when you read these negative things, 99.9% of players are having fun, are thankful, are enjoying the game, are happy for what we do, and we're doing the right thing, and just to ignore it. So the thing I need to work on moving forward is I need to stop reading it, because I always want to read everything so that I can understand the game from every perspective. Because we need to understand everything, right? If players are miserable, why are they miserable? What is causing them the pain, right? Like, you have to understand the pain if you want to improve it. Now, everything's a trade-off, right? You can't make everyone happy, but it's still good to understand it just from like a science perspective. But there's just certain pockets of the community I'm just going to have to ignore. The other heartwarming thing is, I have to call it out, Setsuko had that bad moment, but he apologized. I don't know what caused him to apologize, but he did. And so I was really happy that we had just kind of left it alone and Setsuko apologized. And I was really happy to see that. I was happy for all the kind words. It was reinvigorating. And so I'm still inside. I'm still hurt and kind of healing. But the good news is, in my career, I'm very resilient. I think that's one of the ways I've been able to work insane amounts and keep it going and do everything I've been able to do. So I'll bounce back. I mean, even streaming today was a question mark on Thursday. But today I was like, no, I got to do this. Everyone deserves it. So I think that's the gist of it. But I guess I just want to end by saying thank you. To all the kind words. Like I said, it really did kind of pull me off the ledge a bit. And so I'm going to continue to try to be worthy of it. Yeah, so there you go. That's my little talk.